Thanks for joining me today. What I wanted to do was share with you how I made the motif design around the satin applique design. You can see what I have here is the heart that I had done on my project, and I also have here a picture of the X that I had done on my project. And that motif that it has around the project just really adds some nice extra visual image to the project. So let's get started showing you with the BES4 software how I created that. Within the software we can add designs, and it has some already built-in applique shapes, so this saves a lot of time when you're wanting to make something. And there's a heart here. I'm not a fan of that particular one for what I wanted. I really like this one a little better, so I'm going to select that one, and then I'm just going to, with the left mouse, drag this out to about the size I want it, and there we go. Now I know that I don't want this green part here, so I'm going to select that. If I right click, you can see I've got choices, just delete that. And then we're going to take this one, we're going to arrange it, put it in the center, and I'm going to make it closer to 5 inches. There we go. Okay, now this here currently has a satin edge. I'm going to change that to a motif. And then down here, when you select this, you've got lots of different motifs that you can choose from. It's really fun just to take time to play with all the different ones. This particular one I'm using number 177, and we're going to apply. Now you can see here, those are pretty tiny. So I'm going to change that size. And so you can go in here and play around with different size numbers, and it'll give you a different look. And I'm also going to do is make this a 0, just so that it pushes that line over when I do this. We'll be getting rid of that line later, but for right now I want it out of the way. And so I really like the way that looks better. It's not going to be too many little tiny pieces. It's going to have a nice shape here. Okay, now what we're going to want to do is we can right click, copy, right click again, and paste. So it made an actual duplicate on top of the first one. Now we're going to do is lock this one so we don't mess it up, and then we're going to work on this one. Let's go in here, take this color and make it a different color so that we've got something to distinguish better when we're working on our project. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to change this one back to a satin here and select apply. Now if you look in here close, let's maneuver this around, it covers up too much of this design. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little smaller. So we can go in here to change percentage, and let's try like a 97% and select apply, and let's zoom in and see how that looks. And you can see here, it's got off the screen a little bit. See, it's pretty close to right where that design is. Now if I click on this, I can move that up a little bit. Let's select this. You want to get that little hand there, and I can move that a little bit. And I really like how that's sitting right there. So let's now go up towards the top and see how that looks. And up towards the top here looks pretty good. But see here, when you get over to the side here, we see that stitching line, and I don't really want to see that when I'm working on a project. So let's select this and go to the tools, and then select the edit shape tool. See, we've got these nodes here. There's one here and one here. What we can do is select a node, and there's these handles here. Might be a little hard to see. Drag that handle up, and then you click off the image a little and see how it moved that. And that looks really nice now. Okay, so now let's go to the other side and see how that looks. Again, see, we see some of those stitch line that we might not want to see. And to make this so you can go in and out real easy, you just use the wheel on your mouse and you can scroll in and out to size it real fast. So let's select this square here. Now this one, I'm going to move the square over just a tiny little bit and then click on my canvas here, and you see how it moved that, so it's just barely going. So when it's going to stitch, it's just going to barely stitch over that one line there. So just look around your whole image, and if it looks like you like, then you're good to go. Now I also don't want this to be too dense, so let's select this again. And you can change your stitch length, your width, and your density. So let's see what would happen if I changed this to maybe, I'm not sure if I go up or down with this. It's there. See, when I change that to a 0.5, it's not quite as dense. So that's another thing. If maybe when you're doing something with a satin stitch and it seems really dense, if you can go in here and edit and change that so it's not quite so dense. So that is how you would get a motif around your applique, so that when you finish a project, you'll have something that is going to look like this. Okay, so now we've got our motif and our satin stitch to the sizes that we like. And what we're going to want to do then is we're going to unlock our motif one. And we don't want this to be an applique. We really want it to be stitches. So what we're going to do now is, if you right click on your mouse, you can see this. It has preserve as stitches. So you preserve as stitches. We're going to get rid of this first two that we have here. And now we're just left with this. And if we expand this, it's now stitches. And if we expand this, this is an applique. So then when we go to stitch, it's only going to go ahead and stitch out the motif. Then it's going to give us our placement line for our applique. Then it's going to stitch down our fabric and allow you to trim the fabric. And then it'll stitch out our satin stitch, and we're done with that. So give it a try and share with everybody what your finished results look like. Thanks for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing what you create.